Welcome back to Tales Untold. I'm Erica.
And I'm Wyatt, and this is Season 1, Episode 13. This is our final episode of this season.
We should be back. We will be back at the end of December. We have a lot of stuff going on, so we're going to take a little bit of a break, but we'll try to post some shorts, maybe some bloopers. I'm hoping to put some of those together because we have some pretty good ones. So today being episode 13, an ending that is opening up to a new beginning, I thought that death would be a good topic for today.
It would.
Would you have the Grim Reaper, right? You looked at his origins?
Yeah. You want to start off with him?
Yeah, sure.
So the Grim Reaper is a figure that first appeared in Europe in the 14th century during the Black Death pandemic. There's a couple different reasons why he could have been there. Skeletons. Skeletons are a symbol of death and the decaying human body. Robes. The Grim Reaper's black robe may be a reference to the robes worn by religious figures during funerals. Scythe. The scythe is a farming tool used to cut down wheat, grass, and can also be used metaphorically to harvest souls. The scythe was already in use in medieval Europe and was a faster way to mow than the sickle. Celtic folklore. The Anku is a Celtic figure who appears as a man or skeleton, often carrying a scythe and wearing a cloak. In some stories, the Anku is described as a shadow collecting the dead. Greek mythology. The Titan god of time, Kronos, wielded a scythe. The Grim Reaper is a spectral entity that ferries the souls of the dead to the afterlife. According to legend, seeing the Grim Reaper is a sign that your death is near.
Now, I really wanted to talk about death a little bit because death doesn't always necessarily mean finality. It's not just a death and then it's over and it's gone.
Yeah.
A death could also just be making way for a new beginning. So, like in our situation, we are killing season 1 and we are going to create a season 2.
Yeah.
So I thought it would be a pretty fitting way to end season 1. And I did not realize that the Grim Reaper was only from the 14th century. I mean, yes, it was a long time ago.
What was it, the 1300s?
Yeah. Like, yes, that is a long time ago. However, I guess it's just kind of been around for so long that I never really thought of a time when
it first started?
Yeah. I never really thought of it before. The origins of death. I mean, people have been dying since they've been alive. So I decided to look up the different ways that people handled death around the world and through the ages. As you can imagine, that is very many different things.
Yeah.
So the first one that I looked at were the ancient Chinese people called Bo. I'd never heard of these people before. But apparently they lived in the mountains of ancient China, and this is wild. They hung coffins off of the side of mountains.
Why?
Well...
Oh, and there's people in there?
I mean, dead people, but yes. They're not... historians aren't really sure why they did this, because the Bo people are no longer...
a thing?
Around, so they can't really ask them, like, hey, why do you do this? So they can really only theorize. They thought that it would be for protecting the dead from being eaten by animals, because they lived in mountains. Like,
yeah,
they really couldn't just dig up the dirt and, bury people. Although I'm not sure why they didn't just burn them, like most of the people here did. In some cases, they discovered that the bones were moved after, so there were several people in these coffins.
Mhm.
So they let them decompose, and then they put them in the bin, in the
What?
coffins, and then hung them in the limestone.
That's very weird.
All of this is weird to me. It's definitely strange that there are coffins hanging
From the side of mountains.
And there's also this tribe, the Yanomami tribe.
What?
They are nomadic villages. I feel like that's an oxymoron, but they live in the Amazon forest, Amazon rainforest. So this is wild. You're gonna. I mean, I don't even think this is the most wild one I've come across so far. So they believed that death is caused by an evil spirit sent by a rival tribe.
Huh?
So death is an unnatural process to them.
So people are just supposed to live forever?
I guess so. It's definitely an interesting concept. I've not heard of a people that did not believe that death was part of life. I mean, nobody likes to die. It's not like that's not really how that works. But I mean, it's interesting that they believed that it was caused by a rival tribe. So does this mean that these people also sent bad vibes, if you will, to the other tribe, wishing that people that they loved died?
That's
in order to believe that another tribe did that to them? I mean, that would make... I don't know. It's definitely a strange concept.
This is very strange.
My brain isn't really accepting it. So, and this isn't even the strangest. It turns further.
There's I'm sure people have heard of Day of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
I think that one is a pretty interesting one. Probably more normal than some of the ones on this list.
Yeah, they celebrate the death, the dead, their ancestors on that day. This goes to a whole other level. So what they'll do is they put the bodies of their deceased under leaves and leave them for up to 45 days.
Ooh. Why?
I'm not sure of that reason, but then they cremate what's left. Right?
So,
what's
the point?
It gets weirder. It it turns.
How?
And then, so after they've burned it in this emotional ceremony and they have a whole process. They then make a soup out of fermented bananas. Yep, and now it's going exactly where you think it's going. They put the ashes in this soup, and then the entire tribe consumes it because they believe that they are saving the dead person from the bad spirit that was sent to kill them, and that person is now remembered by the whole tribe forever.
It feels like some Midsummer type of stuff.
I couldn't believe it when I read it.
Have you seen the Midsummer movie?
I have not.
It feels like something that would be in that movie. That movie was freaky. I
couldn't believe it. I mean, it's better than straight up cannibalism where they didn't just cook up the person that died. And
I'm a little bit surprised they didn't. I feel like that's a little more normal than fermented banana and ash.
I feel like fermented bananas would be disgusting.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't really either. Maybe like a kimchi or a sauerkraut situation, but it's a fruit, so it would be like a sour pudding. Oof. My stomach just flopped.
Sounds disgusting. And then ash.
Yeah, well, I would imagine that there are other things in this soup.
I would hope so.
Than fermented bananas and
actually,
ashes.
Would I hope so? What else would they put in this?
Hopefully seasoning. Maybe some chili peppers so you don't taste anything else. I don't know. So you brought up the Day of the Dead.
Yes.
November 1st.
And 2nd.
Mm-hmm. Do you have thought on this?
I think it's actually kind of interesting. I learned about it in Spanish class and Latin American history. Senorita, if you're listening, hi. But like, there's ofrendas, which are like just, I don't know. It's like a table with a bunch of different things that the person liked, and then there's like marigolds. Marigolds apparently stink and it attracts the soul of the dead, but they look pretty.
They have a bad smell.
Apparently, I've never smelled one, but
Oh, yeah. Interesting. I did not know.
candles are also a huge part of it. The November 1st is celebrating the dead children. November 2nd is celebrating the adults.
Oh, I didn't know they had separate days.
Yeah. Have you seen Coco?
Yes.
That's a really good movie.
Yes, it definitely helps.
Younger people understand.
Yeah.
Or even people that have no idea understand.
Yeah. It's definitely a heart-wrenching story.
Yeah.
I did not know that it was 2 days, or even that one was for children and one was for adults.
I didn't know that either. I thought it was only one day, because it's called Day of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know that there were separate days as well.
That's cool. So in my searches, a lot of people cremated their dead, mostly to protect themselves from diseases, because they lived in tightly knitted communities where lots of people lived in the same place. So they couldn't just, it sounds strange, they couldn't just let this body rot in a corner.
Yeah.
I don't really know why they couldn't bury it. Maybe they weren't burying them 6 feet under like we do now.
Maybe, but...
And they, so they ended up polluting their water and their food with the decaying body.
That would make sense.
Probably. But then I came across this wonderful piece of history.
Oh boy, what is this?
The curious case of William the Conqueror's exploding corpse.
Whoa. That sounds made up.
It does. It sounds like a book. It sounds or a movie or
William the Conqueror's.
Well, he was a person. Like it's about a real person in a real situation.
Really?
Yes. So it says that he died in the year 1087.
Sure.
I know, we're having a hard time with 2024. 1087. Sounds weird. I wonder if they said it 1087.
Probably.
You know, because of the way we do 2024.
I mean, maybe not. Maybe they'd be like 1,000.
The year 1087. I don't know. It's weird to say. So apparently he died from a severe intestinal rupture from being thrown against a saddle pommel while on a horse.
What does that mean?
So you know how well, maybe not, but you know how on saddles, how they have that weird hump thing in the middle, in the front?
Yeah.
So I guess he got thrown into one of those.
Ow.
And it ruptured his intestine. That sounds
like
like a terrible death.
Yeah.
That death must have been unimaginable. They prepared him for his funeral like normal. They put him in his fancy clothes and they got him prepared. But then when the funeral came, somebody had robbed his, I don't think it was quite his grave.
His corpse? Maybe he had like necklaces or...
The room where his body lay in state was looted. So wherever they were holding him before the funeral, while they were getting him prepared. So I guess it must have had all kinds of jewelries and things that were for his afterlife or what have you. So somebody robbed him, and by this time the king's body was overly ripe and bloated and would not fit in his sarcophagus.
Oh no. Oh no.
Which begs the question, how would you put a bloated body into a sarcophagus? By force, of course.
Oh. This is gonna be gross.
Yeah. And According to the Chronicle Orderic Vitalis, that was exactly what the monks did. To quote the Orderic, the swollen bowels burst, and an intolerable stench assailed the nostrils of the bystanders and the whole crowd.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Because he also died of his bowels being ruptured.
Yeah.
So not only do we already have an infection, and then we add decay.
Oh.
And then we just have all sorts of terrible gases happening in there. And then they ruptured it. Not only that, and back up a little bit. Imagine the scene of these monks trying to shove this guy, a dead king, trying to shove him
into a coffin. That's horrible.
My brain is taken to a cartoon, and there's these monks jumping up and down on top of the sarcophagus trying to get it to close, like an overstuffed suitcase.
Well, you're lucky you've seen it in cartoon.
Oh my goodness.
I can just hear the sound.
I don't even want to imagine. The smell had to have been worse than those stupid fart sprays.
I've never smelled one of those.
I have not either, and I don't ever wish to. But it must have been similar to that, because that paints a really terrible scene. And it said, nothing can cover up the smell. The mourners suffered silently and as quickly as possible through the king's funeral. Wow. So I think I want to talk a little bit about the idea of people sending payment with the dead.
What does that mean?
So, paying the ferryman so that you can carry on to the afterlife. There's a few different peoples here that did similar things, sending money with their dead. Mm. So it's not quite like the Egyptians where they buried them with their belongings. That was so that they had them in their afterlife. But the Romans, they put a coin underneath the dead person's tongue so that they could pay the ferryman, right?
What a weird place to put it.
Yeah. Well, I guess they won't lose it. But then there's I forget which. There's another culture that puts it over the eyes.
Yeah.
It puts the coins over the eyes.
That's what I've seen most.
And then there's the Chinese that burned paper money. Sometimes they would do paper recreations of homes or cars and things like that and burn those. That makes a little bit more sense. Yeah. But they're burning real money to send people off.
Why?
That's what confuses me. So you're telling me that no matter what I did in my life, as long as I died with some money on me, I'm good? What? I don't understand.
This kind of reminds me of the way Egyptians do things, like with the underworld. It balances your heart.
Right, yes.
For the underworld.
Yeah, and that's against the feather, right?
Yeah.
I forget what the feather belonged to. Wasn't it?
I have no idea.
It was a specific feather. It wasn't just like
a feather.
A feather. So it was, that was judging your character, though.
I thought it was
it's not literally your heart. Yeah.
Oh.
Like who you were.
Yeah.
Did you help the old lady cross the street or did you push her into the street? Like those sorts of things. So that's kind of like saying in that situation, be like, you look at the guy judging you and you're like, here, take $20, let me through. Let's just skip this and, let me go on my way. That's kind of how it feels to me, where you're just buying off the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
Which
doesn't make sense.
No. Especially if you're supposed to believe that these gods, sent you all these trials to make you a better person. But all you gotta do is go into the underworld with a coin and you're good. I don't know.
I don't know how that would work.
I don't know. It's definitely strange to me that is that's a custom in so many places where no, just send him some money, he'll be good.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like there's just weird cultures with death in general around the world.
Well, there's so many different points of view.
Yeah.
Because you have so many different peoples and then so many different ways of life happening at that time. So, like, a lot of these people realized that if they buried people, the people that were still alive got sick from drinking the water that was nearby or, all of these things. So they discovered that burning them was the best way to honor their dead.
Yeah.
I have always liked the Norse way of funerals.
What was the Norse way of funerals?
So there's a couple of ways that the Vikings would send off their dead. They would build a funeral ship, and they would send it off into a lake, and then shoot it with a flaming arrow, and it would burn.
Wait, isn't that like from the beginning of Tangled? Sort of like that.
I don't recall the beginning.
Pretty sure, like...
Tangled?
Yeah.
No, that was...
Rapunzel.
That wasn't... Oh, did they do that for the baby? No.
No, for the mother?
I think you're thinking of Brave. No, the mother didn't die in Tangled.
You sure?
Yeah, the mother's alive. She has brown hair.
I'm not talking about the witch mother.
Yeah, I know. She has black hair. I think you're thinking of the lanterns. When they are burning. Yeah. No, those are like memorial lanterns. Tangled isn't Norse.
She got sick.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Really?
I don't think so. I think it's England.
Oh.
Ish.
But don't they use bows?
I don't know. No, they have like these little paper lanterns that they burned and they sent up into the sky as like a memorial of the princess disappearing.
It's not Brave. I honestly forgot Brave was even a movie.
I don't think anyone dies in those movies.
And Brave, or?
In Brave, no, I don't think so. And then in Tangled, I think the only one that dies is the bad lady. No, but we did do it for your hamster, Tammy.
Yeah.
Well, we tried to. We tried to. Work out well.
No, it didn't.
So I'm a personal fan of that, just because I think it's neat.
It is cool.
I definitely think it's a really interesting way to burn people.
Yeah.
The practice was believed to ensure passage to Valhalla, where the body would join Odin along with other gods if he deemed them worthy. I do, actually, now that I'm reading this, so I do want to touch on the fact that archaeologists are, I understand they're doing it for research and things, but they're upheaving people's burial sites.
That's totally true. I never even thought of that.
I know. Like, think of all the pyramids that they've excavated, and I mean, I guess the people of Pompeii didn't exactly get burials. They got buried by a volcano, but there's so many others. Like, they're finding like ancient caveman and stuff.
Yeah,
they're finding all kinds of stuff recently, and I understand that they want to learn about these peoples. They want the DNA research. I understand, but there's also a part of me that
wants to
that would be kind of angry that you're doing this to someone.
Yeah.
Like, am I a fan that you're doing this? Not exactly.
I didn't really think of it like that until like now.
Yeah, well, I just read that these boats are very crucial to us nowadays, trying to learn more about how these peoples lived back then. But again, you're digging up these people's lives. Like, these Vikings would come after you.
Yeah.
If you did this. Like, so it's just...
It's a little disrespectful, I feel like.
Yeah, and it's a difficult subject. because yes, I do want to know more. I enjoy history. I enjoy fun facts like that. I'd like to know how these people lived. I enjoy to know that Viking women and men were basically equal. Like, they had a lot of things. Like, it's cool to know these things. It's good to know these things. But I don't know. It also kind of sucks that you have to dig up their
bodies.
Yeah, dig up their. I keep trying to call it funerals.
Yeah.
Dig up their graves to do this. And then there's also, this one's kind of neat, the Vikings in Denmark as opposed to the Vikings in Norway.
They're different?
I guess so. I never really thought of it. Vikings have always been Vikings in my head. They would create a burial mound out of wood, and it would be carved with all sorts of neat carvings, and they would burn it for 3 days.
Wow.
With this person on it, and there's like this huge pole on it, called an ardstav.
A what?
It means high pole. Ardstav.
Why can't people just call it high pole?
Because it's Norse. That's what they called it back then, because they didn't speak English.
That's fair.
So they would burn it for 3 days until there was nothing left but ash. And then an animal was sacrificed.
What?
Its blood was poured over the ashes, and then the bones were buried with the ashes in a small wooden box known as an ark or barrow box. I think that's kind of neat. I did not know that about the Vikings.
It's kind of a...
I'm very curious to know how they knew that they sacrificed the animal and poured the blood on it. If they're looking it up. Like, if they're just looking at the burial boxes.
Yeah.
There must have been other documentations on how to do this. And the boxes would have really intricate designs on them as well.
Like?
It doesn't specify. It just said have designs carved in its sides and lid with an awl, a small pointed tool that was made of bone. You're not going to believe this.
What?
So, apparently, this doesn't specify where, but in some places in China and India, that's a lot of land, after a person dies, they are taken to the top of a mountain and dropped over a cliff.
Oh. What?
Yep, that's what it says. It says that it is a sign of respect for the deceased.
How is that respectful?
Many who practice this custom believe that when the deceased falls, their body will be caught by the gods who will take care of them in the afterlife.
That's so messed up.
That's interesting. I wonder how they figured that out.
It is interesting.
Like how
all of these are interesting.
Absolutely, but this one,
a little bizarre,
is right next to the fermented bananas.
That one was by far the weirdest.
Like, how did you get there? I don't know. I don't have enough information here.
It doesn't seem to be giving you a lot of information on like any of these for some reason.
No, I mean, it is only one website. I'm sure if I wanted to, I could really dive deep into any of these and find out all there is to know about all of these peoples.
Yeah.
But this is only one episode, and we don't have time for that. And I think, and I really think that would become boring.
Probably, at some point.
For listening, yes. For listening purposes. I could probably fall into rabbit holes forever reading these things.
For sure.
Absolutely. It says in Indonesia, they believe that if they drop their loved ones off of a cliff, they will fly into heaven with the help of giant birds.
Well,
it is also believed that this process helps release any remaining pain or bad energy from their souls so they can move on peacefully. I wonder if this is just an excuse to be mad at the person because they died. Like, you know what? You know how you say that? Like, if you die, I'm going to kill you. Like,
yeah.
It doesn't make sense. But
no,
it does. Because you'll be mad. So I wonder if it's just one of those things. Like, you know what? I'm really angry that he's left us. So we're just
I don't know why people get angry at people that have died. I don't really understand it. Maybe it's a coping mechanism, but
a little bit. I think it also definitely depends on the situation.
yeah.
Because if that person went out knowingly into a stupid situation that could potentially kill them, leaving people that they loved behind, probably. I'd probably be mad at somebody. But I think mostly it would be for a way that whoever is left behind is coping with it. Probably not a healthy thing.
Probably not.
Fortunately, I really only had one person that has been close to me that has died. And it was pretty sudden that had happened. I certainly wasn't angry at her, though. She had said for many, many years that she was ready for her cloud. But I wasn't angry at her in any way.
I don't see how someone could be.
No. I mean, shit happens. Like, there's stuff that happens that's out of our control. And I think that's realistically what people are angry at. But
you can't be mad at the actual person.
Yeah. It's tough. Especially if it's something that's sudden, like they went to work, but they didn't come home because they died in a car accident or something, or there was an accident at work and they didn't come home. Like one of those sort of situations, it's one of those things where like they left like every other day, but they will never come back.
Which is really horrible.
Yeah, like that could really weigh heavy on someone. Like anytime that door opens, you're going to look expecting that person and they're never going to be there.
Yeah.
Like that's rough.
That is rough.
Looking at it that way, I can kind of see where people would get angry, especially children who can't really, who don't understand the world yet.
Yeah.
Or at least I say that naively. Nobody really understands the world. But I mean, there's a lot of things that kids don't need to worry about. So then that kind of makes them worry about something that they shouldn't, and it definitely sucks.
For sure.
But our death, tales untold, we will be resurrected.
December 28th, 2024.
We will try to put up lots of shorts.
And updates for a 6-week break.
I really want to put a bloopers one up because there's a few things that need to be shared because they're too funny.
There are quite a few funny moments.
We will not post the Slender Man oopsies because they're nothing.
They're literally blank.
It's empty. Do you have a favorite episode?
I really liked Project Blue Book.
Yes. We should go back to the aliens.
Yeah.
Maybe we should go experience hunting. See if we can experience something new to share with the world.
Oh, let's go across the world.
I don't know if I got time for that.
What was your favorite episode?
I think discussing the Zodiac was fun.
I forgot about that one. That was a really good episode.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that was just one take, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that one was fun. We did a lot of soul searching.
Yeah, I feel like that was a good debate one too.
I think I won you over. Yeah, that one had a lot of information. It had a lot of paths.
Yeah.
And it didn't really have an ending, but that's kind of the things we like here at Tales Untold.
Maybe there could be a future Zodiac episode.
I mean, yeah, there's always more information. And they just came out with the series on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
So we could always...
Did you see that?
I have not watched it.
I did.
You did? You watched the whole thing already?
Yeah. It's only 3 episodes.
Oh. Is it coming out weekly or is it just...
No.
It's a limited...
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize it was only 3.
It was alright. The trailer definitely made it look really good.
Well, maybe I'll watch it and maybe we can
discuss
do
it.
another one. Yeah. I think we could go back into urban legends again.
Urban legends is endless.
Absolutely. And we had a lot. That was 3 episodes of urban legends, and we had a few
we could
personal
easily
experiences too.
Yeah, we did. Urban legends was fun.
It's definitely been fun doing the podcast.
It has.
I'm looking forward to continuing.
Season 2. Thank you all for listening to the final episode of Tales Untold Season 1. I'm Wyatt.
I'm Erica.
This is Tales Untold.